You're here now, we're good.
I'd like to call the Williamstown Select Board meeting Monday, September 30th, 2024 to order. First thing is set the agenda. Change to the agenda.
The only thing I would have to note is executive session has to be voted in per 1 VSA section 313, so just that note. It's not technically an executive session until we vote it 2/3 per the law.
Review of open public comment. Did everybody sign in the back?
I don't think they did.
All right, executive session. I would make the motion that the board enters executive session to discuss personnel issue.
Second that.
About seconded, yep.
Discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
I want it to open.
Alon, I was going to say, is there room for discussion? Because I have discussion points. So first, I'm sure most of the public knows I'm a member of this fire department, and I will read this. This is a conflict of interest statement that's required by the Vermont Ethics Commission. As a firefighter within the Williamstown Fire Department, it could be perceived that I would be biased to the organization or the members within it. However, I understand that as a selectman, my ultimate responsibility is to the community at large. I've shown past decision-making where I was the only dissenting vote regarding a budgetary issue that benefited the fire department. The affirmative votes ignored the public's will for previously allocated money. In this specific case, I gained no personal benefit. I have not been asked any favors from the fire chief or command staff at large. I have not been promised any career benefits from the current fire chief, nor do I intend to receive special privileges based on my position as a selectman. The fire chief has not initiated any personal communication with me regarding this issue. I am treating this issue as a one-time event until further personnel issues arise that requires my attention as a selectman. The form further goes asks what my actions are. My intention on acting is to ensure the select board follows this personnel hearing correctly based on Vermont's open meeting statute, 1 VSA, sorry, I did VAS, not VSA, 313, Vermont labor rights in the town of Williamstown personnel policy, and any other pertinent state statutes or municipal policies. I signed it. It was notarized today at the town office. With that being said, doing some digging on 513, I'm again new to the select board, so I'm consistently learning. So the 513 meeting, every select board member received this packet called Town Manager Governance Structure. Does everyone agree on that? That's on the select board?
Yeah.
Okay. So I looked at the laws that this refers to. Title 24, VSA 1236 is Vermont statute regarding the powers and duties of the town manager, which the form of government Williamstown utilizes. I'm not going to read the entire statute, but what is pertinent to this situation. The first line is, the manager shall have the authority and it shall be in his or her duty. First clause. Paragraph 9. To have charge, control, and supervision of the following matters. Section B of that paragraph. The fire department, if any, and shall appoint, fix the compensation of, and may remove all officers and employees thereof. With that stated, our personnel policy. Disciplinary action. Clause 14 in the Williamstown personnel policy, which I followed up with the town manager. This is a personnel issue. Section 14, subsection B. The department head and/or town manager may initiate disciplinary action. Discipline will be administered for the cause and initiated for reasons which include, but are not limited to, a laundry list of things. Section 14, hold on a second.
Are you backing board chair?
I am.
Are we discussing whether to enter executive session?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure, where you're
Don't worry,
going with this.
I'm getting there.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not gonna be here all night.
No, don't, trust me, I'm trying to end this meeting as fast as we can. Section D, employees shall be notified in writing at time of any disciplinary action as to their rights of appeal. Comments written by an employee on the documents referenced in section C above do not constitute a basis for an appeal. Further in our personnel policy. This is appeals to disciplinary action. Subsection C, appeals to disciplinary action beyond written reprimand shall be subject to the following procedures. Subsection 1, hold on.
No,
An employee who believes.
Tyler, I'm gonna interrupt you. Nobody's taken any disciplinary action. Okay, so I don't know where you're going with this. I am familiar with the disciplinary, with the policy, okay? I am familiar with the policy.
Can I just read one last thing here? An employee who believes he or she has been disciplined unjustly may appeal the action in writing to the select board within 10 working days of receipt of the decision.
That's correct.
My understanding is why we're here tonight is for a disciplinary issue. The only person that has authority to do such action is the town manager. What I believe is we should be making a motion that we are not following state statute or our own personnel policy. I reviewed the personnel's in questions file today. There was no written reprimand whatsoever. And this is essentially, per our own policy, a waste of everyone's time. And the reason for this is if the fact that the select board is even here, as I read the statute and the personnel policy, the select board's purpose is to be the appealing process. So if we're even considering any disciplinary action, that makes the employees' rights forfeited because they have no one to appeal to. The only person that can hand down disciplinary or dismissal rights is the select board, or the town manager. So if we overstep our bounds, we could open ourselves up to not treating, we have to treat every employee this way, but I'm concerned with litigation. Because the only thing we have in defense is this policy and state statute, and if we completely ignore those, this town could be up for a lot. So if you're saying this personnel issue has nothing to do with discipline or dismissal tonight, I will vote, or we can go into executive session.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna have anything to do with discipline or dismissal.
But
That's gonna be up to the board.
But the select board has no authority to even discuss that until the town manager has made a decision. And I do have a text message. Sorry, I didn't get it printed out. Or I did print it out, but I didn't print it out correctly. This is from Jackie. I did not recommend this meeting. The issue was resolved with the meeting with William, Larry, and myself. And it goes on to say a select board eloquent bill.
So that was
Christopher Wade.
That was
the
the
one
same,
requesting the meeting.
that's correct, I did request the meeting, and that was the same meeting that took place with them, with the same board member that had to recuse himself tonight, correct?
But Jackie, can I ask the town manager a question?
Sure.
Has any disciplinary, per our town policy, has the employee been, where am I, I want to read it right here, been notified in writing at the time of any disciplinary action as to the rights of the appeal? We haven't even had an appeal yet. Or has the department head or town manager initiated disciplinary action? Okay, so that's my point. So I am making a motion that this meeting is forfeited, or we should vote to not have this meeting tonight because it's a moot point. We as selectmen have the authority under our statutory guidelines to only deal with an appeal from an employee disciplinary action. We do not have the statutory authority to look into the potential disciplinary action or dismissal. We are overstepping the town manager in this town manager form of government. And the reason I have this, I will be quite honest, Jackie gave this to me before I came to the select board because I am learning. So I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting until there is an actual written disciplinary action to even consider for personnel.
Okay, well, we still have a motion for the executive session and stuff. We haven't even gotten there. You know, I would ask that you recuse yourself, okay? One, because you do have financial gain within the fire department.
No, I don't.
Is William your supervisor?
Yes, he is, and I,
Okay, so is it reasonable and prudent to say that he approves your time here?
you approve your own time with the town
No, I
highway
don't.
department.
No, I don't. My boss does.
You don't sign the warrant?
My boss
You
says,
don't sign the payroll?
I don't turn in my time. Does he turn in your time?
May I ask a
Does
question?
he turn in your
May I
time?
ask a
Sure,
question
as
to the
soon
fire
as
chief?
you answer mine. Does he
I
turn
do
in your
not turn in
time?
my time.
I didn't ask if you turn in your time. Does he turn in your
Yes, he
time?
does.
So he approves the hours that you work here, correct?
Correct. Can I ask the fire
That's
chief a
correct.
question?
So it would be reasonable to say that you do have a financial interest in financial, I don't know why you're looking so confused, Tyler.
I'm looking confused. Can I ask the chief a question? William, have I ever, in my tenure as a firefighter, asked you to, what's the word here? Put in incorrect time for the hours I've worked in the fire department? Has every hour I've ever worked for the fire department been accurate to the hours I have worked? Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope that's the case going forward. You have a financial interest, okay? And if you want to be the one to participate in this, being a member of the fire department and having a financial interest in financial gain, I guess that's on you, Tyler. All right, that's on you.
Chris, the reason I'm here is because you blatantly disregarded Vermont
According
statute.
to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, it's a gray area anyway. Okay, so
That is one thing we can discuss in.
the responsible thing
I
to
reached
do.
out to VLCT
No, you can
and they-
stop cutting me off is what you can do, okay? We're not gonna sit here and have an argument all night. We're gonna have a respectful meeting, and if you can't do that, then I would ask that you leave. Okay?
Chris, if you were being respectful and ethical, we wouldn't even be here.
That's all.
Because I also reached out to the VLC, and I'm not going to tell what they said, because they told me that's client attorney privilege, so I will discuss that in a closed session if we need to. But I have a whole bunch of notes from the VLCT, and they didn't seem it was so great. That's all I'm going to say.
Did you speak to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns? And what did they say?
The gentleman that I spoke to said that it was a gray area, but he needed more information.
What information did he need?
I
It wasn't something that we could provide him?
We didn't go any further. He said it would definitely, Larry, it was a conflict for Larry. He should recuse himself because he was a relative. Even though he's a relative in law, he's still a relative. And when I stated that one of the other select board members was also a member of the fire department, that's when he said, well, that's a gray area, but there's no state statute that says that Tyler could not participate.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about the gray area of my participating. My gray area, I'm saying there's no gray area per state statute 24 VSA 1236
Right,
because.
as I just said, there was
Yeah.
no state statute that said.
Yeah, I don't care about ethics at this point. My point is, right now, the select board is overstepping the power of the town manager as written in state statute and our own personnel policy. Our job as selectmen is, so as I believe, is that we have to abide by our own personnel policy. Because we are, and I had to look this word up, we are the appellate organization. We cannot be biased. Jackie can discipline somebody, anyone in this town. She can discipline me as a firefighter within this department. Anybody that is here that works for the town of Williamstown. But if we discuss any discipline or dismissal prior to an appeal, we are now all biased. That employee, which is right now Chief Graham, has lost his ability to appeal because who is he going to appeal to? The only person the only board he can appeal to is the board that just put down the hand of discipline. That's all I'm saying.
You do understand that, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but you understand Vermont is an at-will state, correct?
According to our personnel policy,
No, are you familiar with the Department of Labor and?
I am, but
You understand that Vermont is an at-will state, correct?
I do understand, but can I read this? This is our own town policy, Chris.
Right, does state law supersede town law?
For cause and issue.
Yes, it does. The answer is yes.
Well, I spoke to the VLCT today,
Well, that's fine.
and
That's fine. All right? Vermont is an at-will state. Okay?
you're the one that wants to open us the litigation. Go for it, pal.
Okay. All right.
William's got his hand up.
Go ahead.
William's got a right to say something.
Tyler, thank you. I agree with you. There's obviously some dirty laundry that needs to be aired out tonight. Let's get on with it and let's move ahead. But thank you, Tyler.
That it's a per Vermont statute. We shouldn't even be here.
Rodney?
We all agree.
Rodney.
I just want to thank Kyle Mitchell. He's the first board member in a long time that's actually looked into the law. And he is 100% correct. If you go forward with this meeting, you will deny the employee a right to have due process.
How
The
so?
only recourse would be to file a
How so, Rodney? What is he?
You are not following.
You are familiar with Vermont being an at-will state, correct?
Correct, but you
Okay.
got a policy,
All right.
you have to follow.
Does state law supersede town law?
It's in state
Does
law.
state law supersede town
Yes,
law?
it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
The chief, being recorded, he's requested that we move forward, okay? We have some stuff that we need to talk about tonight, all right? What's gonna become of it, I don't know. That'll be up to the board, okay? And I don't know why you're laughing, it's not funny, Rodney. That's why we're sitting here, is because it's not funny, okay?
your
No.
actions are funny.
My actions are funny? Yeah.
Yeah, so let me ask you
Okay.
a question, Chris.
So,
Were you working for the highway department that night?
yeah, why?
Because you have the biggest conflict. Let's sit on that board.
Huh?
Thank you. With a prior knowledge.
What?
What happened? You are the one that has the conflict.
How so?
Because you were there as a highway worker. And
So
now
I-
you're-
so-
now you're pretending to be a select board.
So when I put my stuff on to go to work during the day, I'm just automatically not on the select board anymore, right?
You have no authority when you're at work
Oh,
to be
okay.
on the select
Right.
board.
And that's why I didn't do anything that night, Rodney. That's why I didn't do anything that night, okay? Because it wasn't the time and it wasn't the place. All right, we can go back and we can talk about all the things that you did when you were on the select board that weren't kosher, we'll call it, but we're not gonna do that, okay? We're gonna move forward, with the meeting, okay? First, we know why we're here, William, because of the water main break, right? A lot of things have been said, transpired, a lot of things I've heard from different firemen, from people around town, and
I'm sorry, Mr. Select Board Chair. There was a motion made, it was second, to enter executive session.
William requested that it be an open meeting.
In front of everybody.
So then we still have to vote.
Correct.
Right, you still need to vote whether you're gonna go into executive session or whether you're gonna enter open meeting. I just hadn't heard that, so I didn't know what the will of the board was, that's all I'm trying to say.
Second.
We asked for a vote, but then Tyler spoke up before he was gonna
So then let's.
He opened it for
to
discussion.
open the discussion before the actual vote was corrected.
Okay.
Executive
So then
session
let's
was
take-
never entered,
William has requested that it be done in an open meeting.
which I heard, and so
And
that had
I'm
superseded,
fine with that.
that there's gonna be an open meeting as spoken.
Can I just throw one thing in there? Because we made there was a motion for an executive session. We just have to see the reason for the executive session. Per attorney-client privilege, what I received from the VLCT today, I think it's important that all select board members hear what the VLCT had to say regarding personnel, general personnel policy. So I do believe I would vote yes. I'm going to vote yes for the executive session for that purpose, not to deal with a specific personnel issue, but personnel policy.
So there's a second, There's an
There's
amendment made to the first.
Yeah, that's my amendment. My amendment is to go to executive session. Thank you, Ben. Again, I'm new here.
Robert rules of order, I'm sorry, I'm just.
I apologize. I make an amendment that we go to executive session to discuss how personnel policy is followed per Vermont statute. So I can discuss what the VLCT said to me today.
So you want to go into executive session to discuss?
Personnel policy as Vermont statute relates it.
Did you just read that?
No, I didn't. I read the Vermont statute. I did not read any opinions of VLCT.
I'm not familiar with some of this, but here on this here, it says, go into executive session for personnel issue, not to discuss what would be LTC. I don't care if you tell us what said but I'm not saying that we can change this.
Yeah, we
Is that
can.
legal or?
No.
Okay, well, I don't know
No,
that
so
for sure, that's why.
I also looked this up because again, I don't know laws very well. So 1 VSA 313 states, a motion to go into executive session shall indicate the nature of business in the executive session and no other matter may be considered in the executive session.
That sounds exactly, so.
Yeah, so we can say, we could go into executive session to discuss roads right now. There's nothing.
No, we can't.
No,
It's a
that's not what
personnel
it says.
issue.
That's not what this was for. Has nothing to do with roads, it's a personnel issue.
That we do not have the authority to just say this is the executive session. We can go into executive session for any reason, as long as it's stated publicly why we're going to executive session. Just because it was warned. I think technically it's not allowed to be warned, because I'm gonna read this statute. No public body may be held in executive session from the public, which is excluded except by an affirmative vote of 2/3 of its members present in the case of any public body. ... So the fact that that warrant says that we're going into executive session is not per Vermont statute, because unless you three voted without me, the only people that can even mention the word go into executive session is 2/3 vote of the select board. So the fact that this agenda says the executive session for this reason, we didn't make the decision.
I'm not disputing that we didn't make the
Right.
decision to go in for this, but this warrant right here says that's what we're gonna discuss. Rodney, can you help me out with this a little bit? You are knowledgeable, more knowledgeable about this.
So it says things to go. Personnel issues is one, but it clearly is that this is a hearing for personnel matter, which the person that question, that's a question that would be an open session. You have to abide.
Wait, no, I'm very much okay with that, but I mean,
Yeah, no,
I don't think we need to go into an executive session to listen to whatever you've got to say. If it's legal, say what you
well,
do. and let's-
okay, then I'll ask the board, are you fine with waiving attorney-client privilege with the VLCT?
I don't know the rules, anybody.
We can waive attorney-client privilege at any time, but it's the board's decision. I'm not going to read anything the VLCT said to me specifically unless the board wants it in public session.
Who's the attorney and who's the client?
We are the client, VLCT is the attorney.
Boy, this is getting complicated. Tyler,
I'm totally confused, we came in to discuss this.
And Vermont.
yes, I
understand that, okay, I understand
You guys
that.
are looking like.
Thank you, I understand that.
But we would be surrendering our rights as a client to the VLCT. So anything that's said in public session, I'm fine with saying it. I'm just telling you, the attorney, someone that went to law school, said, do not do this unless it's an executive session. That was the attorney's.
I would dare say that, whoever else would waive their right if they request that to be done in an open meeting, which he has done.
But he is not the client, we are the client. The members of this board, he is not the member of the VLCT.
Can you read what you have, please, and why that would waive that if he requested that it be
I'm
an
not
open meeting?
asking to waive his, I'm asking to go into executive session discussing the personnel at large, not his case. Jackie, can you help me here?
Yes, so what Tyler is asking for is to go into executive session so he can read to you what you as the clients, because VLCT would be defending you if it went into a court of law.
Correct.
So he wants to go into executive session so he can read that to you, so you're not,
Showing our cards.
right.
Not damaging to you if you're talking over.
Okay, so there's an amendment for motion to go into executive session. So Tyler can read the attorney-client privilege law. Is there a second? No second?
Okay.
Yeah, I think we just need to listen to what William has to say.
So, well, I know, we still need to vote on the original motion. It's been seconded, it's been discussed. So the motion is to go into executive session in which William has asked for it to be in an open meeting. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're voting to not go into executive session?
To go into executive session, but William has
Yeah, that's what I'm
requested
saying,
it
so not
to
mean we go into
be in an
executive session.
open meeting.
Just, I think Scott misunderstood that.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
So, we're not, correct.
Nay. Nay on me.
Clayton?
The nay is that we just listen to William instead of going to executive session, right?
Correct.
I'm a little confused on this,
So a nay would mean we don't go into executive session.
and do we
I don't
need?
think you have the choice. William has requested
He's
that it's an
requested
open
that it
meeting, so
be-
it doesn't
that it
matter if
be
you guys
open.
vote yea or nay.
Okay,
Right.
The
all those in
executive session no longer
favor,
exists.
all those in favor of allowing William to have this as an open meeting, say aye.
Aye, that's what I needed to know.
Thank you. Okay. So, the reason we're here is because of mainly what happened at the water main break. So I guess, William, I would ask you, what, what were you thinking up there?
In regards to,
Well, you had said, you had spoke with Jackie, right? And she had told you that the fire department was to provide flaggers and lighting, correct?
correct?
Right. Did you tell Jackie that you didn't have any members that would stay to flag and provide lights?
I was asked by Jackie at around 7:15 to provide traffic control, starting traffic control, and provide scene lighting for the water main break on Route 64. I had advised her at one point that I didn't think the fire department was going to be able to maintain traffic control all night long, but we would definitely go help get it started. So we did that. How far you want me to go? You want me to call people out? I mean, what do you want?
I think we'll probably get there, because, I mean, I think we just need to hash this out tonight.
Okay, so when I asked the fire department, as we were finishing up training, if there was any volunteers that would help assist get flagging up, Lieutenant DeRose, Assistant Chief Southworth, and Firefighter Placey and myself volunteered to go get it started.
Okay, so you had talked to Jackie about hiring ADA, and she had told you that the fire department was gonna stay and provide lights and flaggers for the duration of the incident, correct?
I was told that Mike Avery's crew was getting called in to help fix the leak, that the highway crew was bringing the excavator, and that between highway crew and Mike Avery, that hopefully there'd be somebody that would take over flagging at some point.
Because, I mean, like, when I got there, you were after me about flagging, right? You weren't?
No, you got there. Oh,
Justin, you were with me that night. How long had we been there before?
who's Justin?
Justin works for the town, he was there at the water main
Last
break
name,
that,
please.
that night. Justin, you just say your name.
Alright.
State your name.
Justin Blakely.
Justin works for the highway department. So, I hadn't even started digging yet, and you were asking me about flaggers.
Nope,
You were.
I asked you about flaggers at one point, but not at the beginning.
You came up to me as I was getting out of the passenger side of the truck, and you asked me, what's the long-term plan for flagging? And I said, Jackie said that the fire department is providing lights and flagging, right? And that was when I dialed Jackie's number and gave you my phone.
I remember that, but that was not when you got there, no.
Okay.
The poll was well done.
It was not. Justin, can you give your recollection of that, please? Had the hole started to be dug?
The excavator had been unloaded. There was no digging that had been taken place.
If I remember correct, when you unloaded the excavator off the trailer, the excavator and trailer was parked kind of across from Farnham Scales. You brought the excavator down with the excavator facing towards the village. You started digging the hole. When I asked you about traffic control, the excavator had been moved to the other side of the hole, and you would come down out of the excavator at that point. That's how I remember.
I had not started digging the hole yet, okay?
Why would I get into specifics of where the excavator was parked? That's how much I remember it.
Well, because I had to start on the uphill side. I unloaded it on the
I
uphill
understand
side.
that, but I'm saying that's
of
when I
the-
asked
of
you,
the
if
hole.
I vividly remember you.
And I vividly remember,
Then why would you
He's-
ask a question?
he's telling you, William. There's quite a few things here that don't add up,
Let's move on.
okay? You know, Jackie had text messages here saying that the fire department was gonna provide the lights and flagging for the duration of the incident, right? And you said, I only have a couple that would commit. Take it out of my budget, but need to get some long-term setup, please. For the future, we can look into it, but we need to get through this issue now. And then you said, ADA traffic is responding. Sorry this happened. Sorry I'm being a pain.
Yeah,
Please take this out of my
the
budget.
time difference there, that
That was at
2 hours,
11:04.
because there was a point, I had a conversation on the telephone with her that wasn't in text.
Was that?
There's like several people raising their hands to try to.
I see that. I'll get to him. Thank you. Rodney?
So I will go back to what I said previously. You are not a biased select board member at this point. You are a witness to this issue. You need to step back off the board.
I need to step back off the board.
Yes.
Thank you. Tyler?
Also reviewing this situation, and I spoke to Jackie about this morning, and she brought her book. I apologize, I did not bring my binder. Could you please look up the policy with the town manager's authority of how equipment is delegated?
Are you referring to the one that was written in 2001?
It's still.
Are you referring to the one that
I
was written
am,
in
but it's
2001?
still, it hasn't been rescinded.
You understand that the Prudential Committee still controlled the fire department up until 2006?
Has that policy
Right.
been rescinded by the select board, Jackie?
That
So
would be,
would that considered, would
that
that still
would
be
be
considered
null
law
and
within
void
the town?
after the town manager took over the fire department. There's no more Prudential Committee,
But the
Tyler.
policy, it doesn't mention the Prudential Committee, it
So-
mentions, can Jackie just please read the policy for us?
Sure.
This is current town policy, it has not been rescinded.
It was updated in 2009.
Is that the personnel policy or the specific?
It's policy for use of county.
Thank you.
That's when Barb recorded it, or that's when it was?
No, there's one from the previous select board in 2001, or previous from 2001, and then there's another one from 2009. There's two stamps on it.
What's the one?
They're recorded, that's the recording stamps. One was Gloria and one was Barb.
Okay, but as far as we're concerned, that policy has not been rescinded. Okay, can you please read the policy?
Town of Williamstown policy use of town equipment. Town equipment will only be considered for use by other town entities directly supported by tax dollars. Each request will be considered by the Board of Selectmen on a case-by-case basis. A written request on the form provided by the town, complete with all requirements met, will be submitted to the town manager for review at the next Board of Selectmen meeting. Requirements to complete a request consist of, number one, project description, purpose, date, estimated length of use, type of equipment requested to be used. Number two, a current town highway employee trained to use the type of equipment requested will be the only allowable operator to use the equipment on said project. It will also be stated whether the town employee will be volunteering his or her time or will be paid for their time by requesting entity. Number three, valid proof of insurance, liability, general liability, auto coverage to consist of $2 million. The town named as an additional insured on the proof of insurance. Number four, any and all damages to the town equipment will be paid by the borrowing entity. All repairs will be arranged by the town manager and payable within 10 days of an invoice being submitted to the borrowing entity. Note, the town manager will have the authority to authorize the use of the town equipment within the Williamstown Highway Department, the Williamstown Water Department, and the Williamstown Sewer Department. Adopted on August 20th, 2000 by the Williamstown Board of Selectmen, Gordon McCarthy, Norman McCaskill, Edwin McGlynn, Lloyd Farnham, and Robert Chappelle. It was signed by Gloria Graham, notary on August 28, 2001, and then it was received for recording by Barbara Graham on March 20th, 2009.
So my point of bringing this policy up is that policy is out of date, first and foremost. And I spoke to Jackie about that this morning. And as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be on our next agenda. It has nothing to do with the personnel issue. But from the stance of the way the town policy is written, the fire department went above and beyond their call of duty because we actually broke the rules. The only person that has authority to allow fire department equipment to be utilized for another town department is the vote of the selectmen. Granted it was an emergency, but the policy doesn't mention emergency. The policy says equipment is to be only given to another town entity at the vote of the selectmen. I was not contacted on this day as a select board member for an emergency meeting where we had to have a quorum to allocate equipment for another entity. So I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, I've got, now, your question on the equipment being used, are you referring to, or suggesting that William, obviously, they arrived, they set lighting, flaggers, that it was as the graces of God that he did it, he didn't have to? I'm just, is that what you're saying?
What I'm stating is that
Or just to help out the town because of a water main broke?
he did it to help out of I was not there. I'm assuming Jackie did request, that sounds like Jackie requested William, is that accurate? William might not have known of the policy. William, did you know about the policy? Okay, William didn't know the policy. I don't think a lot of people know the policy. It was written, it was enacted when I was a freshman in high school. So, but the point is, William did allocate resources and staffing to help this situation.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So he did go above and beyond.
I'm not disregarding that, I'm not disagreeing with that either. What I'm getting to is, you're saying that, what I think I was hearing is that William didn't need to help as it being a water main problem, that's not his department. You're right, absolutely. But being on Route 64, when there's possible traffic, I believe it's a safety issue. Now, I don't know it altogether, but that becoming a safety issue for the public, the traffic coming down, the men women, whoever was working in that would be a safety issue. Now, would that be a responsibility of the fire department? I don't know, I'm asking you.
Yeah, he's asking.
So you are you
Yes,
yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but let me turn around and ask the question back.
okay.
April 13th, there was a water main break right in front of your house
Yes, there was.
on a sharper corner than what we were at in the dark. And our services were not needed then.
I didn't
So-
call for any of them.
So the aspect of safety, absolutely, but I did not abandon traffic control. I did not leave that scene without traffic control or the safety being put in place.
Which, in front of my house or the other?
On.
I'm not saying you did. I'm
But
not
I'm
saying
just
you did.
saying, the safety aspect what you're talking about is, I did not disregard the safety aspect of it. That's why I had requested a company to come in and take over. I didn't say, time's up, see you later.
No, that's not what I was getting at. You were there being asked, as a safety aspect, whether another company was asked or called to come in. That's not what I was disputing. The reason, you weren't there to aid them fixing the pipe. You were there aiding the safety of people around. That's all I was getting at.
That was the main line that comes out of the reservoir, right?
Correct.
Pretty bad situation.
Yeah, so
The whole town out of
the
water.
fire department was pumping a hydrant that night. That's what broke it or not, they were pumping a hydrant that night, and shortly after.
I thought we were all under the understanding that the fire department is to not get blamed for that water
I'm
main.
not blaming you.
Okay,
Well, you're-
You gotta let me,
Hey,
you gotta let me finish what I'm saying, without cutting me off.
Hey,
like.
Mr. Chair, can I finish?
You sure can.
Okay, now, so this was not a good situation. Kind of pretty much, all hands on deck. We all agree here that that thing had to get fixed. Everybody had to pitch in. Did Mike Avery come down with some guys?
You did?
No equipment, but he supplied some guys. Pretty good gesture. Everybody, the thing had to get fixed, right? So, it got fixed, right? There were no accidents, right? Where's this all going?
The issue here is that, Jackie had told William that the fire department was going to provide flagging and lights, okay? He wanted to call ADA. She said, no, this is what's happening this time. ADA was called. Is that true?
I did not call ADA without her permission.
Right. How many times did she tell you no before you called ADA?
So,
Account.
All right.
so what do
Well,
we,
I can tell you there's a couple in these text messages.
One, ain't there?
so where's,
I
so,
don't know, ask Jackie, she's sitting right here. How many times was it discussed? You guys,
so where are we going with this?
hold on, I got a question.
Huh?
They're trying to.
No, please speak.
Bottom line, if Jackie gave William permission to use ADA traffic control on state highway, doesn't matter what William did, Jackie was the town.
How many times did you tell him no prior to that?
Couple.
A couple.
So-
Okay, that's the bottom line.
It started at 9:03 and then at 11:04.
How Jackie went about it doesn't matter, she made the decision as the
Doesn't
town
matter.
manager, not you, not Clayton, not William, Jackie made it.
Okay.
Everyone was safe, the water line got fixed.
Are we seriously here to talk about the fact that he asked a few more questions and then finally got the answer to make a choice?
I'm gonna
Is that
guess,
why we're all here today? Because this is ridiculous.
no,
We're acting
there's,
like
there's,
children right
there's,
now. Stop
there's a bunch
interrupting
of
her.
reasons why we're here. She
trying
just
to
asked
go.
me a question, you want me to answer it?
When she's
Do
done
you want me to
talking.
answer her question?
When she's done talking.
You just interrupted, do you want me to answer her question?
I know.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, William, you tried to go over Jackie's head with me on scene with the traffic control and stuff, right? Because you said, I'm looking to my higher up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you swapped out with Tyler Placey
No,
and told him,
where, finish that story, you can't just give half the story. Yes, did I come to you asking for your assistance?
correct,
Correct. What did you respond to?
I told you needed to talk to Jackie. She had already told you, she had already told you that the fire department was providing lights and flagging for the duration of the incident, right?
Correct.
And you said, well, I'm looking to my higher ups. And that was when I dialed Jackie's number, or excuse me, I told you you needed to call Jackie and you told me that you couldn't get a hold of her. So I dialed her number, she answered the phone and I handed it to you, where you had roughly a 15 or 20-minute conversation with her. Is that accurate?
Anything else you want to add to that?
Is that accurate?
No, it's not.
It's not.
When I asked you for help, you threw your hands up at me and said, I'm here as a town employee, I'm not here as a select board member. I stopped the conversation, that's when you dialed up the phone.
Was there anybody else there that evening that saw any of that saw me throw my hands up?
Probably one, whether he'll agree to it or not.
Chris,
Right.
was, the town road foreman there?
No, it was not.
Okay.
No, but I called him when I was on my way out to get the excavator.
Okay, no, I was just curious,
Touched
I was
base
just
with
curious
him
if
and
Dave
he
was
had
there.
already talked with Jackie. So, you know, you had told Tyler Placey when you swapped out with him that you didn't get paid enough to do traffic control.
I don't remember anything about that.
Well, that was what he said. You paid for 20 hours a week administrative work, right? Plus hourly on top of that for fire calls?
4 or 5 times, yes.
Do you do, time sheets and activity logs
This
to
is
account for your
irrelevant to
time?
this situation.
What's that?
This is irrelevant to the situation.
Okay, we can talk about that another time then, I guess. You had talked with Norwood, you guys had an altercation on scene, right?
Was there an altercation?
Right.
Yes, there was.
Okay. Norwood, can you give us your recollection of what happened that evening, please?
I was basically running the truck, providing the lighting, helping Mike and Alan as I could, whatever they needed. When traffic control arrived, I looked over and William was setting up some pole lights, some little pole lights we got. I asked him what we were doing, what he was doing. He said traffic control was there, we were setting up these little pole lights for him, and we were leaving with the truck. And I had been, in my career, I'd been where Mike Avery and his men were, in a hole of chimneys and shit, middle of the night, trying to do stuff for a community, don't give two shits about people. And I wasn't leaving those guys with half-ass lighting. And me and William got in an argument about that I wasn't leaving with that truck was staying there. And yes, I didn't do it right, I did it in front of people, I shouldn't have. Should have had that discussion off to the side. But we had a further discussion and it ended up being that the best decision for that situation that night was William went home and thought about it. And I stayed, Tyler and Jason stayed, and TJ stayed, and we ended up helping Alan in the morning bleed hydrants out, made his life easier, got the problem corrected, but I was gonna do everything I could that night to keep that truck with the good lighting there to help those guys.
I just want to throw one thing out there. Tyler Placey noise, not Tyler Mitchell.
Yes.
I know, I just want to make sure that's on the record. I was not there. There's 2 Tylers on the fire department.
William, do you think that that incident was a life safety issue?
A light safety issue?
Yes.
I don't think
You're aware that there was people working in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night, 8 feet in a hole, on a high-traffic road, right?
I wouldn't call it the middle of the road.
You don't
To be
think,
specific, it was in the middle of the road.
there's all kinds of stuff in the middle of the road,
The hole is in the middle of the road.
okay?
People weren't.
You aware that you had no sprinklers at the high school, the elementary school, or the garden apartments?
I know what buildings have sprinkler systems and which buildings
So then you
don't.
should-
That's
you should
my
know-
job to know. I also know how many buildings outside of the hydrant district there is and how many buildings don't have,
So how many hydrants didn't have water that night?
none of them have water that night.
Exactly. And nobody
So
had
what was-
drinking water in the village.
What was gonna be my plan?
So how is none of that a life safety issue? I'm just trying to understand
How am I
what
putting
your
a
logic
fire
of
out on the
thinking
outside of the hydrant
is.
district? How am I putting a fire out with the outside of the hydrant district?
So you're telling me that getting that back online as quickly and safely as possible to restore all these buildings in the village and the hydrants with water is not a life safety issue?
My job is to not fix water lines.
You're telling me that that is
my
not a life
responsibility.
safety issue?
There was no difference than when it broke on April 13th. 3/4 of the town was out of water then.
Did William tell you that that was not a life safety issue that night?
That was part of our discussion. Our discussion was, I disagreed with him, that I personally thought it was a life safety issue.
I agree.
We had that discussion back and forth for probably 10 minutes.
Mr. Chairman. Yep.
Jasmine's got her hand up and.
We're getting into theoretics here. What happens if there had been a fire that night, the water was off, and the fire department is up flagging instead of,
I'll let Norwood answer that and tell you what his plan.
Within the first 5 minutes of arriving on that scene, when Mike Avery and Chris got there with the backhoe, we had that discussion of what was gonna happen if there was a fire.
so how is that different than William leaving after there's flagging
It
covered?
was gonna be a temporary lighting, bad lighting for them until we could get back to providing them good lighting. It was only gonna be a temporary situation.
I think you guys did a great job. Apparently, it must have been a late night, tempers were flaring a little bit, but seen that before.
This actually all happened pretty early in the evening.
Well, still, everybody else wanted to be home. And I think our hats are off to all you guys. Everybody pitched in. I mean, fire department, road crew, Mike Avery, I mean, all these guys showed up to help Williamstown out. So, a few feelings got hurt. Maybe some things were said that shouldn't have been said, but we're all adults here, right? Well, I am some of the times. Mr. Chair. Where else have we got to go with this?
Well, unfortunately, it didn't all stop that night.
Let me guess, was it on Facebook or Snapchat or something
no.
like that?
No, I wish it was, because I could have printed that out. But, so William, after that night when TJ, Tyler, and Norwood all stayed, you removed TJ as the training officer and from checking air packs, right?
I'll answer that, but can I respond to the conflict between Norwood and I?
Sure,
Am I allowed to give my side?
Of course, absolutely.
What Norwood said was pretty spot on. Yes, we had a disagreement on what we thought thought should go down. I'm not gonna sit here and deny that. But how is me wanting to leave stationary portable lighting wrong? They had it all night long. And then if we got a fire call, the plan was just to up and leave, and you guys gotta figure it out for yourself. I mean, I don't understand how my plan to leave stationary 4, 5, 6 lights is wrong. And how come the fire department has never been asked before to be on scene while fixing water main breaks? And there's been a lot of water main breaks. And I refer back to April 13th. We were not asked. And I even asked you, can we help you clean out your garage? And you said you were all set because all that mud, everything washed right in there. So I asked if there's anything we need to do. Our services weren't needed. And all you guys keep coming up with is it was the main line leading into town. Again, where in a policy is it that the fire department shall be on scene to provide traffic control? I get that I should have been more willing to want to help out. I'm not going to dispute that with anybody. But the fact is I'm in charge of the fire department, I'm in charge of the personnel, I'm in charge of the trucks, I'm in charge of all the equipment. And my decision was made that that's what we were going to do. And we have rules inside the firehouse that if you don't agree with the decision that the incident commander has made, you are to not make a scene about it. You are to do what the incident commander has asked you to do. And if you have a problem with it, you take it up back at the firehouse. So, rules have not been followed. If you want to go down the line of calling me out on everything, there's other things that went on that night that weren't taken care of properly either.
Okay,
So I was a bigger person and walked away from that scenario because I didn't think it needed to get blown up any more than it already was.
So touching on what you just said, who is your supervisor? Who would have been like, who was running point on that night? Who was allocating, getting people in place and everything?
Jackie was ultimately in charge. There was
That's right.
nobody in charge of that.
Jackie was
of
ultimately
that
in charge.
scenario.
Now, you just said,
On site.
that the fire department has policies in place where you do it, right? And then you discuss it later?
Yeah.
So why didn't you do what your supervisor told you to
I did
do?
not do anything without her permission. I did not get ADA in here without her giving me the okay.
After she told you no several times.
It doesn't
And you
matter.
kept-
I'm standing
you kept
up for at the time what I thought my firemen wanted, and I'm pushing and advocating for them. Obviously, they turned around and shoved it up my ass. But in the end, I was advocating for them. So yes, my job as the leader of the fire department is to keep pushing my supervisor to give in to what the fire department wanted. That's what I did. I did my job.
So Norwood, when did you say that you would stay? How early in the evening did you volunteer to stay?
When I found out about it at the station that night, then we had to go do it.
TJ, how about you?
Yeah, when we got back,
I like,
same.
it sounds to me like,
You guys don't want to talk about the conversation we had at the utility before leaving? You want to leave that out?
What was that? I said, I work for a water department. I know how long a water break could take and what you can get into.
You weren't working for the water department then, you were working for the fire department, were you not?
The fire department, you are correct. At that time, I was working for the fire department. But in my mind, I knew what I was getting myself into, and I knew I was gonna be in it for the duration of the time.
You guys are denying. I gotta leave him out because he was in the bathroom. But you two are gonna sit here and deny that I didn't add that when we were talking about this before going out to do the job, that I said, Jackie said that either Avery's crew or the highway were gonna be taking over traffic control at some point, so we shouldn't have to be doing this all night. And you guys said, good, I don't wanna be doing it all night. You guys aren't gonna admit to that?
May have control.
man, you didn't tell him that they were taking it over.
Because Mike said he was bringing 2 guys with him.
Okay. That clears that up. So, back to what I asked before, TJ was removed as the training officer and from checking air packs after that incident that night. Is that correct?
Two separate.
No, it's
Two separate duties, I said.
right, I said both of them. I said air packs and as the training officer.
relevant to this incident.
Is it relevant to this?
It's irrelevant
How
to
so?
this
It
incident.
happened just after. How so?
All the incident
Because it ties in, did you tell Jackie that if you remained the fire chief, that you were gonna fire Norwood, TJ, and Tyler?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall that? Because that's what you told me.
Thursday morning, I also told Larry that.
Okay, so you wanna talk about litigation, all right? Tyler, are you familiar with the Whistleblower Act?
Yes.
Okay, so do I need to go further with that?
No, but I do want to bring up some points of just general emergency safety, and I discussed this with Jackie this morning. And I was hoping the meeting was going to go shorter, so I didn't actually look up the state legislation on this. In the state of Vermont, when a fire department is called, the fire chief is in command. Except the one exclusion of that is a bomb threat. The police then get full authority of that. So, if Jackie was in command, which she is, again, this is why I brought the whole thing up. We shouldn't even be here tonight because Jackie did not bring any disciplinary dismissal actions toward William. And that's, so to Chris's point is, we shouldn't even be here because William has a boss. And it's not Chris Wade, it's not Tyler Mitchell, it's not Scott McCarthy, it's not Clayton Woodward. It's Jackie Higgins. But when a fire chief gets dispatched to any incident in the state of Vermont, and I see Mike shaking his head, and he probably knows this a little better than me because he works for the Vermont Fire Academy, or Fire Bureau. That is his incident. And in the incident command system, there is a, oh God, Mike, what the hell? Command structure, what am I trying to say here? Incident command can be, William is the overall incident commander, and then there will be other personnel. As William said, he is not going to be fixing the water line. I see Alan Schmeenard here. He works for a company that the town contracts with for water lines. William is responsible for making sure there's scene lighting. He is responsible for making sure, in theory, that their excavation equipment is there. At that point, if Jackie was on scene, she would be part of the command structure.
You're big on statutes and stuff. Ben, you work for the Division of Fire Safety, correct?
Correct, but that has no bearing on why I'm here tonight, so let's leave that right off the record.
I understand.
Thank you.
I guess we're looking to you for some knowledge here. I have Title 20, Chapter 171 in front of me. I guess it's 20 VSA 2673. Powers and duties during hazardous chemical or substance incident, fires, threat of fires, or explosions. So Tyler's argument is that when the fire department is called, the fire chief has command over the scene the entire time period.
Correct, as chief engineer in 171 subchapter 4, he has absolute authority over that scene.
Yes.
And if he is not present, it would be a subordinate officer the next subchapter, correct?
So was the fire department toned to go to the water main break that night?
I do not know. I wasn't there.
Was the fire department toned?
We're not, no.
Okay. So I want to read this to you, Tyler, and you're a statute guy. Where an emergency situation exists in a municipality and there is no fire, but there is an imminent threat of a hazardous chemical or substance, incident, fire, or explosion, the ranking member of the fire company responding will be in charge as long as the imminent threat continues. Okay, where there is a threat of bombing, the department shall surrender responsibility to the police department having jurisdiction in the area.
Correct.
Okay, so the fact that the fire department wasn't toned to go to the water main break, okay, there was no imminent threat of fire, chemicals.
There's tons of life safety issues, Chris.
There wasn't a threat, why would we go?
You just argued for 15 minutes about the huge life safety
Did
issue.
you get toned to go?
It doesn't matter if you're toned to go. I wasn't toned to go. I drive down the highway and I see a car off the side of the road and there's someone having a heart attack and they see a Williamstown
All right,
sticker
so
on
then
their
let me,
face.
so then let me ask you this.
The government's gonna say Tyler Mitchell is gonna be responsible for that person's life.
So then let me ask you this. If you're saying that there was a threat, which you're saying that he would have been in charge, correct?
Yes.
Why would he abandon that scene?
He didn't abandon. After you left the scene, did you mitigate that to another fire personnel?
Yeah, turns over to Norwood.
After Norwood and these two refused
to go.
It doesn't matter. Did the fire chief fulfill his responsibility?
We're gonna move on.
I did not tell them they
Point
had
of
to leave.
clarification, is there a comma between chemical and incident, or as if it's separate things, or is it a chemical incident?
It says hazardous chemical or, no comma, substance incident, comma, fire, comma, or explosion.
So that's irrelevant. Because it's not a
Mr. Chairman.
substance incident, it's not a hazardous chemical incident.
Okay, so in
Starting
fact,
to sound
there,
like a railroad, a personal vendetta to me.
and what would that, and what would that personal vendetta do? What would that be?
You
Mr.
got
Hardiker.
fired off the fire department?
You're just hammering him one thing after
Can
another.
I, whoa, no, wait. What about the fire department?
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on a minute. What about the fire department?
You got fired off the fire department, or got done on the fire
You didn't get
department
fired.
because you and
And now
William
you're
couldn't get
pressing the
along.
issue.
Did I go back to the fire department,
You
Jackie?
tried,
Oh, I did. I
you
did.
did, and then you quit.
Because I'm on the select board and I didn't have the time to do it and I couldn't make the numbers, so I stepped away. You know, at least have your stuff right if you're gonna come at me with
I'm
stuff like
just
that.
saying, it's
Okay.
been an ongoing thing.
No, it hasn't been an ongoing
Since you
thing,
got
because you know
done
what?
the first time.
I have always voted in favor of the fire department. We bought them a new utility. We
In
got
favor
them a
of
truck
the fire
refurb.
department,
Okay.
Not William specifically.
When have I not supported William?
Right now, for
Right
one.
now. Right
Where
now.
can you find in policies that he did
You know
something
what?
wrong?
Why don't you sit and listen, and then at the end, you can tell me? All right?
I think Edna has the option, Chuck.
Ed,
Fred,
yep,
let's stay, at least the reason I thought that I'm here. Let's stay to the water issue instead of running all around this room. Let's stay to what we came here for and settle that issue,
Good
shall we?
all right. So after this, you had told Jackie that you were going to fire the three of these guys. Are you familiar with the Whistleblower Act?
What's that?
Are you familiar with the Whistleblower Act? Federal law?
What? Listen, guys. How can you, as fire chief, put yourself in my shoes? It's out in the open. These three have decided to stick it to me over this incident because they were not adults to come to me when I gave them the opportunity to come to me. I may not have given Tyler Place the opportunity, I will agree to that. But I want to ask two people a question. It's my point here. Jason, Michael, Mike Green, TJ, Norton, did I or did I not ask you on Monday night last week if there's anything I'm doing on the fire department that is upsetting you guys, anything you want to talk about, any changes that we could make to get beyond this? And the only two that said something were Jason and TJ. And I won't get into what the questions were because they're irrelevant to what we're talking about. They manned up and they asked questions. No one else said anything. So I gave them the opportunity to come forward and discuss what we're discussing here tonight. There's absolutely no reason we should be here tonight discussing this. This should be handled in-house like we should.
That's what we tried to do. But you,
No, we didn't.
you
Nobody
requested
has come to
You
me.
requested this be.
I did not request this meeting. I did not request
No,
this meeting.
I
You
didn't say you
requested this.
requested the meeting. I said you requested it to be open.
But you're talking about me. Why would I request it?
You had a meeting with somebody who had to recuse themselves. And that was gonna
You
come
should
here
recuse
to
yourself.
support.
You should recuse yourself. You should recuse yourself. I mean, this is totally not right.
Yeah,
I'd like to say something.
go ahead.
I wasn't trying to stick it to anybody. I did nothing but support William the whole time. I don't try to stick it to him like he just said. I answered questions truthfully that were asked of me by people after the incident. And I ain't lying to people. And so when people come to me and ask me questions, I'm answering the questions truthfully. I don't have a vendetta against anybody. I don't want to try to stick it to anybody. I want to do what's right for this community. So him saying that, I have a real problem with him. Not trying to stick it to him. I answered questions truthfully that were asked of me after the call. And I want that on the record. I wasn't out to get him. And I don't think TJ was, I can't speak for him, and I don't think Tyler was. But I want that on record.
Thank you.
And this one point, like you said, Larry was there with Jackie and William. Larry has no bearing over a town employee. It doesn't matter. Jackie has the authority over William. Unless Larry is coercing Jackie to make decisions, which is illegal. That is the Vermont ethics. Jackie, did Larry Hebert coerce you in any way to protect William Graham?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's on the record. All right. So that being said, my whole point is, this shouldn't even be a matter of contention, because she is the one to hand down and to do the investigatory issues and to follow disciplinary or dismissal procedures. We are not to do that. We are here to appeal, to listen to William's appeal. And this, if it was a case that they discovered, Jackie said, you messed up, our authority as selectmen is to listen to an appeal, not to question essentially an employee of what they did or did not do correctly. We are completely off the rails on Vermont statute. I did not write this statute. Let's see when it was made. 1967. My parents were alive. I was not. So, like Scott said, everyone was doing their things, and I can tell you right now, and I'll be honest, Williams yelled at me at a structure fire because my butt wasn't in gear. I messed up. They're hot-headed moments. At the end of the day, you go back, you talk it out, and also just, maybe you're going to get farther down. Just curiosity, out of all the select board members here present today, who reviewed William Graham's personnel file? So, after this incident, so just so everyone knows the record, William has never had a formal write-up in his personnel file. I'm not going to go into his personnel file other than that. But William, could you describe what your, I don't want to say penance, because that's the wrong word, but what your self-voluntary, according to Jackie, everything was voluntary, what your voluntary corrective action for this incident was? I don't have the email, or do we have the email? Was it an email?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull the email here. I apologize. So emails are public knowledge. All right, here we go. So William voluntarily sent an email to Jackie and Larry Hebert. Subject, formal apology. Thank you again for giving the chance to hear me out about Monday's incident. I didn't see how important it was at the time the FD needed to be involved and how the process goes into fixing it and getting it back online. I'm assuming he's talking about a water line. That has since been explained to me, which it had at the time, and this probably never would have been an issue. I am thankful for the FD members that stayed to make the FD presence available. I still am confused as to why I got fed 2 stories from my members, but I will look into this, as I mentioned Wednesday. I can't go back and show up to the incident and prove I have the best interest of the taxpayers in mind. However, I would like to make it up, work my time on, I'd like to make it up, work off my time that I should have remained on scene to help. I will be donating my September calls and training hours to an organization that will benefit the townspeople, unsure of which one yet. So he has said to the town manager, any calls or training hours he does, any extra off of his stipend, being a part-time employee, he will donate to a charitable organization within the town of Williamstown. I would like to make up by volunteering the 6 hours I should have stayed by flushing culverts when needed or whatever I can do to help the town service out. I would hold my firefighters accountable for their actions I need to hold myself accountable for mine. Hopefully you both will agree to these terms to help ensure the FD and myself will be available to the town 24/7. In the future, if an event of something like this happens again and the FD is needed, I will make sure we are present without complaints and will hold more members accountable to respond and assist. Again, I apologize that my plan I had put in place didn't agree with all. I will be more considering, sorry William, should be considerate in the future. William Graham, Williamstown Fire Chief. He voluntarily went, again, we have a very large crowd here. If you make a mistake at work, do you go to your boss and say, I'm gonna give you my month's wages voluntarily? Because I don't. Most people couldn't afford that. Now granted, this is not William's main profession. I mean, when I say profession, I mean main source of income. But
We are in no place to do that,
But he voluntarily, sorry Michelle, he voluntarily reached out to the town. Now, when I read William, and I'm not going to go into details, I think there needs to be some structure with how our town is dealing with personnel issues. That's why I brought up all these laws. We are making mistakes for ourselves. And there are things that maybe William should have had a written reprimand to honestly protect the town. And if it's happening with William, I can assure it's probably a global issue. I'm sure it's not just one employee. I can tell you right now, there's a smoking policy in the town, and I know people are smoking in vehicles, so.
So Tyler, I guess I'm gonna touch on what you just said. Maybe there's things where William should have had a written reprimand.
But he didn't.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. And this is a question for you, okay? At what point do we get there with a written reprimand? Because, you know, we have stuff, well, we have this incident, okay? The insubordination towards you. We have a thing here, this is from Dave Danforth, when she told you that you were gonna do the lights and the traffic, and you kept going and back, and finally you called ADA.
But hold on, Chris, just for one thing.
Is that a formal reprimand?
Did-
Because I never got.
Is it?
William, just to get the ADA thing out of the thing.
It's not.
Did
Can I
you ever-
finish talking, Tyler?
Did you ever call
Tyler,
ADA without the permission of
Tyler.
the town manager?
Tyler,
So that was not insubordination?
Tyler.
Yes, Chris. You don't understand what insubordination is.
I know, and we have Matlock sitting over here
I'm
at the
not
table.
Matlock, I'm just smart enough to call the BLPT.
All right, so my question to you is, at what point do we arrive at a written reprimand, okay? We have stuff here from, what?
That's Jackie's decision, not.
Yeah, I know, and I'm asking her to provide me with that
You're the only one
information.
pushing it in this
Thank
room.
you.
Really?
Okay?
So we've gotten this far in the discussion because,
It's none of your business what she does.
because the select board,
None of my
from what I
business
heard
what she
earlier, the
does.
select board shouldn't even be involved in this, because it would be between Jack.
None of my business what she does.
You're the same one wherever you work.
What is the personal vendetta?
Gonna end this thing now.
walked off the night you threw your helmet in a fit of rage.
And you know
That
what's
is
funny?
personnel policy.
And you know what's funny is I asked for that video to be presented, but nobody could do that. Nobody could do that.
Chris.
I came back to the fire department, and I joined the fire department, and there was no issues whatsoever, okay?
But you got done.
I got done. Yeah, I got done.
Both times, yes.
Why did I tell you I got done the last time?
I
You
don't know why
know,
you
do you
got
wanna
done.
talk about things that people do?
I didn't
I
know why
mean,
you got done last time.
You were running around the
Hey,
office
hey,
the
hey,
other
hey,
day.
we're not here for that, Chris.
So my question
We're
to
done.
you is, at what point do we arrive at a written reprimand? William moved the ambulance on a scene at a rollover at the Graniteville Road, from Dave Danforth here, okay? You knew about it. At what point do we arrive there? Unsecured crew, unsecured patient, William got in the ambulance and moved the ambulance, okay? I was told that his sister on scene had to grab a hold of him because he was gonna open the back doors and start screaming, all right?
Oh my God.
You're way out of order, Chris.
Chris,
Keep it
Chris,
Wait,
Hey. Chris,
It's nothing that should got this far.
this is way beyond what's
We're
going on.
here for personnel issues, okay?
We're
We are
digging,
here
we're
for
digging.
personnel
And
issues.
there's a better way of dealing with it and getting to the bottom of it.
See, this is the problem with doing it in an open meeting.
You're right, this has gone way beyond what it ever needed to be.
I'm done, okay? I sat down with William and discussed what took place on September 16th. Larry was there as the chairman of the board. We hashed it out. We had resolved the issue. And I let it go. I did not ask for this meeting.
No, you didn't. I asked for this meeting because there's a pattern here. It keeps happening. It keeps happening, and it's happened several times. It's happened several times since I've been on the board, okay? Several times since I've been on the board. At what point do we get to a written reprimand?
It's her discretion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right, her discretion. So I mean, what has to happen? I mean, how
William has done
bad
nothing
does
wrong
it
to
have
support
to
this
be?
town since he's been on the fire department and everything else he
How
does.
bad does it have to be? You know, William, you left your meeting with Larry the other night. You put out a tone for the fire department, right? For everybody to respond down here. You told them that you had met with Jackie and the board had placed you on administrative leave. Is that correct?
I have a hand up.
I know, I'm asking you a question, and as soon as you answer mine,
I'll
I'll
answer
give you that.
I'll answer that question, and then I'd like to answer a couple other questions and say a couple things. I just want to be on the record. It doesn't look like we're fishing for stuff on me. This email from Dave Danforth regarding moving the ambulance came in at 5:08 p.m. today. The incident happened on August 6th. And no, I did not go into that ambulance without the patient being secure. State police wanted that ambulance moved. The road was closed for no reason. So the state police wanted that ambulance moved. I asked the state trooper on scene, would you like this ambulance moved? His remarks were, yes, because if I have to keep this road closed, I have to do a press release, and I don't want to do a press release. So, I asked my sister, who was a member of the fast squad, can you please go move the ambulance? She went and checked on the patient. The medic was rude, said no. I asked the state police again, do you want this ambulance moved? Yes. I hopped in, fully admit, I hopped into the ambulance. I leaned back behind me. I asked the crew, is it okay to move this ambulance up a few feet? And they said yes. Again, my word against theirs. I just find it very interesting that this email came in at 5:08 p.m. today. So, your question again was, sorry, you asked me a question, I had my hand up.
Yes, I did. So after you met with Larry the other night, you came down and you put out a tone to have everybody respond here. You told the membership that you had met with Jackie and the board, and that the board had placed you on administrative leave, but you were going to be responding to fire calls until Monday.
I felt that why not come an emergency call and help
Oh,
out?
absolutely. I would hope you would respond.
If there are people within the fire department that are questioning my decision-making, and I'll be honest, I told Larry this as well. I don't want it on my shoulders if I say, for example, we're not going into that building, the roof's about to come down. And the individuals look at me and say, well, fuck, man, I don't have to listen to him. And they go in, roof comes down, they get hurt or killed. Whose shoulders is that on? That's on mine. I didn't want that responsibility if there's this issue going on within the firehouse. So yes, I made the decision until Monday night, this meeting that we're taking place right now, that it would be best interest of the safety of my guys that I not make the decisions and turn the command over to Mike St. Lawrence. Yes, but I did not, if I did, that's not my, that wasn't what I meant. So guys, gals, if I said the select board and the manager, asked me for leave of
nobody
absence,
put
but
you
the
on
leave of
administrative
absence was
leave.
was my decision. I didn't.
Nobody put you on administrative leave.
I made that decision on my own for the safety of the guys.
I guess I'm
know I didn't
trying,
have to.
I guess I'm trying to figure out, I mean, there's a lot in between there between I'm taking myself out of command and giving it to Mike, and I just got done a meeting with the select board and the town manager, and the select board placed me on administrative leave.
Town manager
I don't
wasn't
recall
there.
him saying.
I know.
The select board.
And neither was the select board.
It was just Larry.
Just Larry, that's right.
It's pretty easy to figure it out. How many of you were there when William supposedly said that? Because there's a whole fire department.
I understand, guys. Is that what was said?
That was what was
Why
said.
do you keep
That
asking?
was what was said. Is that what was said?
I mean, not the
That was
select
what
board
was said.
specifically, but it was that he was placed on leave.
Okay, you were not placed on administrative leave, and you know that.
You just said not the select board.
I'm talking to William, Jasmine, okay? Thank you. I'm talking
You're
to
trying
William.
railroad
You're not
me.
on the fire department. No, I'm trying to find out why William is not being truthful with his membership, okay? Because when I have half the fire department coming and telling me.
Half the fire department, there's only 3 of them that are going on this.
3 people don't make half.
Oh,
What do you say about the 19
Let me just say what I gotta say. And it should-
funny, you guys didn't even know what I was gonna say, and you're already hollering and screaming.
Let me just say what I gotta say, and we'll put an end to all this.
Wow.
Listen, I'm going to North. I'm gonna leave. Whoever said that, I'm gonna leave. Listen, it's been an honor for 11 years to be able to be here as your fire chief. But it's clear and obvious that there's problems with you,
I have
and
no
there's
problem.
problems with members of the fire department that don't want me to be the leader of the fire department anymore. And I've accepted that. I've accepted that. In the almost 11 years, I'm proud of the accomplishments that our team has put together. Training facility, new ladder truck, new fire truck, refurbs, brought new SCBA's. I mean, we have done a lot in 10 years that I'm proud to have been the fire chief and oversee. But I have listened to about enough of this, and you know, I thought we were all adults within the fire department, and I thought I was always an open door that you could come talk to me at any point in time and resolve these issues. The fact that this has been brought into this level is just absurd, and we know better. We are better than this as a fire department. And if the problem is me, the problem is me. And I am giving my resignation effective October 15th because I want to do it professionally and give 2 weeks and help onboard the new fire chief. But I don't deserve to be sitting here and getting railroaded. If I made a bad decision that night, I made a bad decision that night, and I own it. I was open with my guys. I was open with my officers. If you guys felt in the eyes of the select board, I made a bad decision, I own it. But to sit here and get railroaded over one bad decision that didn't get anyone hurt, didn't get anyone killed, it's unnecessary to even have gotten this far. I never got a verbal reprimand, I never got an oral reprimand on this, but the issues aren't gonna go away no matter what comes out of tonight. You're still gonna have pissed off firemen, and the problem is obviously me, and let's, if I can ask one more thing as fire chief, guys, is just still respond, still do the job that we gotta do, because that's what we're here for the community. And I will do my job till the 15th of October to the fullest that I have done it. I will continue to work with these three, even though we have disagreements. But the problem, someone's bad day is our time to go help. So that's what we'll do, and hopefully these three will feel the same, and we can finish out these next 15 days professionally and without any problem. But I put up with this for 11 years. It's always something, and I'm not gonna be walking on eggshells around here. And everything I say, everything I do, goes back to you guys. So you win, and again, it's been an honor for all the firemen that are here tonight. Thank you. That's all I gotta say about this.
No, William, thank you for your dedication.
First off, thank you so much, William. You've been a great asset to this town. Chris Wade, I think you should resign right now immediately from the select board for bringing this farther than it ever should have come to begin with.
Really?
And come town meeting, we'll try to, our damnedest to make sure you're not on the select board. Yeah! So you've only got a few months left as far as I'm concerned, and I think probably we can get enough votes to take care of that.
Ben, can I address the chief? Yeah. Well, William, I know I sat in your office the other night. First off, I respect you for what you've done for this community, and I really do. You know, I agree, this had to come to this, probably not. You know, but I would hope as a member of the fire department, that you would consider, even if you aren't chief, staying on as a member. I said to you, maybe it's time to go back to kicking doors and playing with the rest of us in the trenches, but I think it would at least be fitting to consider staying on and coming back as a firefighter.
I fully intend to, if the new fire chief will allow it.
You know,
I think somebody should try to find a way for Vince Williams to stay on as chief.
I do agree with you. It sucks that it had to come to this.
Brian said that.
Yeah, you're the one that brought it to this.
Yes, Barb.
This is on your shoulders.
It does suck that it had to come to this.
No, it didn't.
Mr. Chairman.
The select board
Mr.
never
Chairman.
should have got involved because
Yes,
this was a
make the
Jackie
motion, we
issue,
adjourn.
and she hadn't taken it any further.
Motion.
So the select board never
So
should have got involved in it.
we need to vote when we really.
You kept nagging
Somebody
William.
should follow the procedures.
It doesn't matter,
What was
he kept nagging William
What
until
was the
William
question,
gave
Chris?
in, and now he
Well,
wants to
there
end the
is no
fucking meeting.
motion.
Yeah.
Well, Scott made the motion. Made the motion to adjourn. We don't need to make a motion to come out.
I know.
It's not our issues that should be taken care of at a select board meeting.
We're not.
He's giving
So,
stuff.
motion's on the table to adjourn.
No, I'm sick of this.
Wow.
I'm having people do
So-
this way.
The only thing I have to say, thank you, William, for your dedicated service, and just so everyone knows, again, I went through his personnel file. He has been a member of the fire department. I think he started as a junior member, but don't quote me on that. January 24th, 2008.
Well, and I want to make it perfectly clear that nobody was taking any disciplinary action, merely
You were just
asking.
opening cans of worms, one right after another.
Opening cans of worms.
But
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't even be on the select board.
By asking questions, right?
No, asking questions that
Because-
never should have been asked, because they never should have come to the select board, because it was between Jackie and William. She is his supervisor. And none of it ever should have got that far, because she never did any disciplinary action. Which
So-
you are the appeal board, not the judgment board, and not the questioning board.
Nobody made any judgments. Did they?
Yes,
Did,
yes, you did.
oh, we did?
You
I
did.
didn't realize
You did.
asking
I was
questions
just
was
gonna say
making
our
But you never had,
Actually,
you never had that power, because it never should have come to that.
for the second.
You were out of line.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Motion's on the table to adjourn, it's been seconded.
just one point of discussion. William has just resigned.
You have to accept his resignation or not.
Do we not? I don't, that's not really the point. I just,
You do have to, you should make a
Should make a motion.
no, I'm not gonna make that
Scott,
motion.
do you want to rescind your motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Is there a motion to accept Williams' resignation?
How do I want to state this? because I don't want to accept it. So, no.
I will make the motion that we accept William's resignation.
Chris,
You can't, because you're
you're
the
the
acting
acting
chair.
chair, the chair cannot make motion.
I'm not taking that motion, because I don't want to accept his resignation. I'm hoping that within the next 15 days, that we can get this shit straightened out and figured out, William remains, everybody gets along and gets through this crap.
I was trying to mutter along on how to say that.
Well, I just said.
Thanks,
plain.
Clayton.
Yeah.
I make the motion that we do not accept Chief Graham's resignation.
I'll second it. How's that?
Thank you, gentlemen.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
I also make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.